Good morning. Welcome to a Tadpoll for a Thursday morning. As usual, a busy Thursday morning around the Tadpoll. We're going to be talking with Ruby just a little bit about Fort Bissell. We also have Hanson Arts and Crafts, our big annual event coming up this Saturday. Sherry Welsh will be joining us for that. Phillips County Community Foundation. Morris Engel will stop by to talk about, we're going to have another race this fall as a fundraiser for the foundation. Also, we're going to talk about strategic planning. He had the big drill the other night, and Tara Overman will be with us on that. Who knows, Angie might show up. You never know who's going to show up into the program. And then Terry Thompson by phone, we're going to talk about the trip next spring to New York City. That's all coming up here on the Tadpoll, made possible by the sponsors you see here throughout the program, and you'll be hearing from. And it's a great opportunity for us to see what's going on in the community and in the county and in the area. So again, as I mentioned, a busy one. Good morning, Ruby.
Morning, Ted.
Okay, Fort Bissell, you're going to have another big night next Tuesday night, right?
Next Tuesday night, it's our annual Hall of Fame function, and this year we are honoring Mark Studley.
Okay, so I know what you do, but what do you do? It's an hour long, right? Free refreshments, right?
Free refreshments. What we do is we honor somebody from the local county that has contributed to making history, either by way of achievements or with special sort of involvement in the community or something like that. And we got the nomination of Mark Studley, and he has been a bull rider he had a career of 36 years.
Sure.
Started at the age of 15, retired at the age of 51.
Wow.
And a remarkable career. And so we're honoring him this year. So what we do is we introduce the person, tell them a little bit about them, and then we leave it over to that person to say a few words. They can ask questions. We have some of his things on display. We've got two beautiful saddles. We've got some of his buckles.
Okay.
They are just gorgeous, and obviously earned the hard way. And then we also have some DVDs playing with him in action. So you can see how he earned it. It's pretty cool.
I even ride a bull, mine, she belongs to the Wall of Fame.
Yes.
I can't imagine getting on one of those things.
And it's not always easy, because you get hurt.
Sure, I know, yeah.
I asked him one day, so how many plates and screws? So I get a chance to catch up with my admin work and things like that. But it's been a very, very good summer. Very busy and just been great.
You get involved. I think a good thing about Fort Bissell is the fact that the children, you get them involved in the summertime. I think that's very important, I think.
I'd like to talk about that because we have our Fun Friday programs. We had 4 of them where we do something crafty that ties up with history or just for plain fun. I want them to know that the museum is not only a boring place, you can have fun there, and they love to come back. We have launched a Frontier Kids program for the kids, which is a club that they can join for $5 a year, and that will give them, they will get extra newsletters, which the others don't get, so we will send them newsletters. We will send them a happy birthday wish. We have at least one special event for them, where we'll have maybe like a scavenger hunt, the closing of the fort or opening of the fort, a hot dog feed or something like that. And I'm working on something to get like special vouchers for them that are members of the Frontier Kids. So if anybody is interested and want to sign up their kids, from about 5. And I don't have a top range. Kids will say I'm too old for this right now. So that's basically what it's about.
That's great to get people involved. I've often said Fort Bissell is very important in the community, and it's probably the best kept secret in Phillips County.
It probably is the best kept secret, yes.
Because just like people who live in New York never make it to the Statue of Liberty, a lot of people in Phillipsburg have probably made it to Fort. And I think the things you have out there, the Sundays, and this, it gets the people involved and they know what's going on.
It's to make them aware, number one, and often when people come and visit, they said they didn't know it's so big. They didn't know there's so much.
Right.
And obviously, you probably know about the chapel we're going to build next year. So there is a chapel project that we're launching.
How's that coming?
Slow. We're waiting for the blueprint. So we
Okay.
can't do anything before we don't have those plans.
Okay. So what do you have before you close the fort for the
Well, we're
summer?
closing the fort at the end of August. Then we still have our chili cook-off, which will be on the last Sunday of September, which is the 30th. It will be held at the 4-H building. We will still give you more details as we get closer. And we are planning something for Christmas, for sort of round about Thanksgiving, just after Thanksgiving. We're planning something, and I don't want to say too much about that, but we think it's going to be
That's a great idea.
It's something new, but we are working on that.
But people sign their register. Any unusual visitors this summer from any?
I had a couple from Switzerland.
Wow.
They have toured 48 states of America already. They are both teachers. They love the school as a result of that. We had a lot of fun talking about, European influences in America, which they can clearly see. They do think it's very commercialized, but it was interesting to hear their point of view, and they did enjoy the fort. And I've also had a family from Dubai. So
Really?
those were my overseas visitors till now.
How do they learn about Fort Bissell? Just going through?
They're traveling and they pick it up
and,
on 36, and they pick it up on websites. And in fact, the Swiss couple were recommended by the museum in Belleville. They said, you've got to go there. So it was great.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's great to be able to do that. And
Absolutely.
They probably, were they from the mountainous area of Switzerland? I think most of Switzerland is mountainous. There's probably a lot of flat land out here. Did they talk about that at all, about the difference in it?
I'll let you in on a secret. My mom was Swiss.
Oh, okay.
so we had a lot of common ground to talk about. Yeah.
Sure. All right. Well, very good. So just make your plans. Next Tuesday night, come out.
Next Tuesday night, 7 o'clock.
Okay. Anything else on?
No, not at this stage. So watch the press. We have a Facebook page. We create our events there. People can follow us there. It's the best way to get the news.
Sure. Well, I think it's great you're getting the younger people involved in what's going on there. So.
We do. We're very excited about that.
Okay. Now, someone asked me the other day if someone had a family coming in February, do you ever, and I put you on the spot, do you ever open up for people?
We have. The only thing is that it gets very cold in the buildings.
Well, sure.
And only the buildings that are really heated, which is really the big main building, that we open up. If they really want to do it, we can go there, but we cover all our exhibits for the winter, so it means we'll have to go and open it, and it's a bit of a schlep. But we have done that in the past, but I do warn them, it is cold.
Okay. Well, yeah, you can't afford to heat all those things and keep them because, well, I didn't mean to put you on the spot there.
I'm okay with that. I'm used to that.
So next Tuesday night, I'm not saying this because I'm on the wall, but who's on? Can you remember?
Okay, well, Tad, you were the first one in 2012. Following in your footsteps was John Mason, then Eunice Bovey, Betty Burney, Mary Beth Van Rokel, Marge Lemon, and then we have Mark Studley.
Oh, wow.
I had to really think about all the names now in the right order.
I'm in good company there.
You are in good company. We are running out of space on the wall, so I joke and I say we put them on the floor right now. No, we're going to change the display and, to accommodate more places, more people, and their mementos and things.
You're telling me you're changing that with the different plaques and so on.
Yes,
you have.
Yes, we're going to change it a little bit.
Yeah, you're going to run out of space.
We've already run out of space.
Okay.
But we'll make it work.
Okay, very good. Well, see you there Tuesday night, 7 to 8, free refreshments, and hear from Mark.
First hand, hear from Mark Studley, see him in person, meet him, greet him, and just hear what he was up to.
Okay, well, we look forward to having you
Thank
on
you so
again.
much.
Something coming up, and
Thank you.
you got my interest now in the Christmas. I know. See what you do on that. That's going to be neat.
It's going to be neat.
Okay, fine.
It is.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thanks for
much,
coming,
Dad. Thank you.
Ruby Wyman with us this morning. All right, is Sherry out there? Okay, so we're going to take a break and back and talk with Sherry Buss about the big weekend coming up and Labor Day weekend.
Your dreams have been our dreams since 1884 when we first opened our doors. This is Lloyd Culbertson for First National Bank and Trust. It's a place filled with friends and neighbors who want nothing more than seeing you happy and better off. First National Bank and Trust in Phillipsburg, Logan, and Long Island, Smith County Bank and Smith Center, Solomon Valley Bank, Beloit. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
And back on the Tadpoll, one of my favorite things used to be in September was to go to Logan for several reasons. Number one, you never knew whether you're going to need a coat or short sleeves shirt on. I was down there many times. It was chilly in the morning. It finally warmed up though. I'm talking about the Hanson Arts and Crafts Fair, and it was just a great place. They moved it to August now, but still has the great program and a great way to spend a Saturday as you get ready for fall, isn't it, Sherry?
It is. It's a wonderful day.
Okay, Sherry Buss with us this morning from Hanson. We're going to talk about two things. First thing is this Saturday. How are things looking for the Arts and Crafts Fair?
Looking good. We're just almost ready. There's always a few last-minute details, but, all the big stuff's in place. We have our entertainment. We have 55 crafters, and all the food people are registered, and the basics are there.
Well, right. Well, okay. We'll have to go through. Okay, 55 crafts. Anything new this year on the crafters?
Oh, there's always something new. I have a new metal art person coming this year. I'm real excited to see what he's doing. I think it might be something men might enjoy as much as women too. He just told me a little bit about it on the phone, and it sounds really interesting. Just some kind of metal art he's welding together and such. So, yeah, and we have the potters that came for the first time last year are coming back this year, and they did really well. They sell hand-thrown pottery, and it's gorgeous, and just I know a lot of people are anxious for them to come back so they can add to the collection they started last year.
It was always interesting because we'd be on the west side there, and people come by. You could always tell, particularly with the younger people, what was popular. All of a sudden, everyone coming by had some kind of a toy or something. So, well, that's really popular this year. So you can always really pick that out.
You can, yes. We have stuff for women. There's home decor. There's homemade soaps. There's, all that cool vintage repurposing items all the time there too. But there's a lot for men. We have some really great leather work people that come back year after year, and they do a really good job. And there's always something for everyone, from young to old, male to female.
And it's funny when my wife, she would come, she would walk all the way around, and remember things, and then see what everything was, and then if you remembered certain booths, it would go back there. I suppose you see that a lot, don't you?
Yes, she was a smart shopper.
Yeah,
yeah, checked it all out to get the best purchase for herself.
No, it's interesting how that worked. The food was always great. Who are your food vendors this year?
We have the Lions Club, and they're doing a pulled pork sandwich with baked beans and chips and a drink for a meal deal, or you can always just buy a sandwich. The KY group is churning out burgers and brats and hot dogs on their grill, and I believe they have a meal deal as well. And Catholic Church booth, can't forget them. They are serving turkey and noodles and desserts this year. They cut out the sloppy joes, but that's okay because I think the turkey and noodles are what people want.
That was what the popular thing was for me.
We did a giveaway for a free meal card or your favorite thing about the Arts and Craft Fair on Facebook, and $25 Hanson bucks. And so many people said the Catholic Church booth, it just blew me away. Then, of course, we always have the cafe across the street will be open. They're going to have an Oriental buffet, and Main Street Pizza will be down the street. So if you want to go inside and sit down, or if you want to sit out at the Lions Club booth, they have picnic tables right there for you, and the KY and Catholic Church have seating available too. There's something for everybody.
You won't go hungry if you go down there.
You will not go hungry. And there's great treats. We have kettle corn this year.
Okay.
We have cotton candy. The ABC Daycare is doing a cotton candy fundraiser, and snow cones, of course. You gotta
Sure.
have snow cones.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the food then, and that'll be available. Entertainment. That's always a part of it.
So much fun this year. We're trying something different with the Topeka High Drum Line, and they will perform at, I believe, 10 and 1, or 11 and 1, excuse me, 11 and 1, and really fun. Just they actually are students at Topeka High, and Sal Cruz is their instructor, and he has this awesome group of kids that work really hard all summer long too to go around and perform. They do a lot of performances, and
That's amazing, you know.
Yeah.
And how do you find out about these things?
well, you kind of look and listen and keep your ears tuned up.
Sure.
Actually, I happened to see these people perform, the drumline perform at Wamego at the Tulip Festival there, and so I did some research and found them, and they wanted to come this far. They've never been this far, and they're really
Really?
excited about it.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So that's part of it. What else?
Yeah, and then that's on the north stage.
North stage, okay.
But they won't need a stage, so it's on the north side of the plaza this year. The south side does have a stage, and that's Formula 3. And if you were out at Labor Day last year, they were the first act, and they were very good. They're two guys out of Nebraska, Luke Oswald and Spencer Hansen. Spencer is the band instructor at Kearney High. And he does a lot, like he did a Paul Simon song, which I posted on our Facebook page out at Labor Day. And so he pulled the trumpet out the end and did a great trumpet solo. He's really talented. And Luke has some kind of a musical business up there. They're both very, very talented, and they play a wide genre of music. They do a little bit of country, a little bit of modern, a little bit of old time rock and
Sure.
roll, just a little bit of everything.
Okay, that's great. And Hanson, any relation to the Hanson?
Not that I'm aware of. Not that I'm aware of. Spelled the same, but
Sure. Okay. Very
Yeah.
good. All right. So so it starts from at 10 till 3.
3. Yeah, the
Okay.
entertainment will start off at 10 and then go until 3. They'll play intermittently back and forth. And then we have other entertaining factors. Artisans are stationed around the square, and over at the service station we have the chainsaw artist.
Chainsaw.
Blair Smith, he's from Iowa. He's incredibly talented, and he is so personable. You'll enjoy visiting with him as much as you enjoy watching him carve. I promise.
I used to interview on the radio, and yeah, great. How you could do that? I mean, you know, just chainsaw. You know, you can't make a mistake with a chainsaw. you
No,
know.
and he has several different sizes. So he has,
Sure,
like
yeah.
different paintbrushes, different sizes of blades and
yeah.
such. He doesn't see the wood until Friday night. We collect the wood for him. He comes in Friday night, and he kind of looks it over, and that's all the preparation he has to do 4 carvings. 4 carvings. That's pretty amazing.
How do you find the wood? You go out along the river there, or what do you do?
Well, I have Paul Gramman, and I couldn't do it without him.
Okay.
And Paul's on the lookout all the time for good wood for Blair, and then we try to work a deal out with different people, and we've had a good source for the last several years, but they told us that they thought that we were going to have to look for another one. So
So what kind of wood do you look for? The kind of wood it is, or the way it is, or the size?
I think the size, and
Size.
I am sure that the kind of wood makes a difference as
Sure.
well. That's really out of my area of expertise. So.
And I think, you know, if a lot of this wood has light and dark strains thrown through it, I think that really makes the wood look, the finished product looks a lot better. You
Yeah,
know?
it gives it depth, and it
gives it
just gives it some
personality.
little interesting characteristics to it. Yeah,
okay,
depending on
so-
what he's making.
All
Yeah.
right, how early on Saturday morning do you get out there and start
Well,
setting up?
I will open up at 5:30 and start some coffee. Got to have some coffee,
Yeah.
and then everyone else comes in a little bit before 6, and hopefully crafters start showing up to register at 6 o'clock, so we can get everybody in place and have it ready to start off on time at 9.
Okay.
And we have Brian Bethke, the blacksmith. He'll be back
Okay.
demonstrating his skills. Everyone enjoys him. We have a new oil painter this year, David Volbrot. He's a member of the National Oil Painters of America, and he's very talented.
Did he come in with for your programs? I mean, your
He gives a workshop in
Yeah,
July.
workshop,
So some people will be familiar with him, but he's never done the arts and craft fair before. New artisan this year is a calligrapher. Her name is Chandra Feldman, and we're really excited about her. She's also going to host a calligraphy class this fall, so people will be able to meet her and see her work and see if they're interested in coming to class. The Shepherd's Mills with Area Spinners and Weaver will be on hand to demonstrate their skills, and they're always really, really interesting. And there's just so much fun out there for everybody. Inside, we have Bob Jones doing antique appraisals. And Bob will be also bringing some antiques this year to show people too. Just he decided to mix it up just a little bit. And we have new quilting demonstrators. Our regular Janie Lowry had it just didn't work with her schedule conflict. And so we got Idona Duncan and Annette Look from Stockton Stitch and Chatter to come up, and they are going to show a zipper pouch. Don't let the zipper get the best of you, and no-sew applique. And then they're also bringing along a quilting machine that people can purchase for their home. She would help you find out where to get it, where anybody at home can quilt a king-sized quilt at home. So it'll be interesting. They'll be demonstrating the machine as well. So
that's all inside. Memberships are always available there.
Yes, inside the community room, you can buy your membership. It's a great time to renew because that gets your name into the drawing for Hanson Bucks a second time. All of our members are automatically entered into the drawings. That we have two of them, one at 10:45 in the morning and another one at 1:45 in the afternoon, and then you're eligible to win up to $100 in Hanson Bucks if your name is drawn out. We give away $250 at each drawing. So.
And I think, and I've talked to the crafters, they really like that idea that you give the money to the people and they spend it with them and they bring it up and then you exchange it for the real money, you know? It's really a great idea.
It works just like cash. And so if you win your Hanson Bucks, they must be spent at a crafter's booth and they must be spent this year. You can't hold them until next year. Some people have tried.
And then don't expect to go down there next Saturday and just because there's nothing there. No,
nothing there.
You have to do it that day, which is great. I think it's a good idea. And how that has just been no charge.
Everything
to do the entertainment and everything. If you buy something or obviously food but just some people they spend the whole time they show early and then stay late
and it sounds like we're going to have a beautiful day. I've been hearing highs of 86. That's pretty nice.
It's going to be cool for the next week. Cool for August, I think, which is a great opportunity. So
that's true.
You're about ready to go then. Paul's got everything ready.
Paul's out there right now. He's spraying for mosquitoes, so we won't have a bunch of mosquitoes in our grass. They're thick this year.
I was going to say I haven't seen a mosquito this year.
You haven't?
I have not seen a mosquito.
Well, you won't see one on Saturday either because Paul's spraying. But if you would have come last night, boy, howdy.
There are a lot of them out there.
They're thick. Yeah, they like our grass. So does everyone else. But they really like our grass.
So you get that out of the way, and then bingo, you got you're back in it again.
We'll start setting up tents for our artisans and marking booth spaces, and then we're pretty much set outside, just finishing up the last few bits of paperwork inside, and that's it.
Ready to go.
Nancy Kistner and Michelle Pollock of the Logan Clinic are doing free face painting for the kids too, starting from 10 to 3, and they also give away helium balloons while supplies last.
Right.
And then also for kids, we have inflatable fun. We have a train bouncy house combo slide, and this year a bungee trampoline. Wow. So that'll be interesting too. So there's lots of great things for kids.
Where kids can do that.
The whole family.
You watch them over on the west side, where they have the jumping. They get on there. You watch them that, and I wish I could do that again.
I know. They didn't have fun stuff like that when I was a kid.
They didn't.
I confess out at Labor Day last year, I did go down the big slide, and it was a lot of fun.
Okay, so now as I mentioned, after Saturday, you have to retool and get ready for a couple of weeks later, don't you? For the Sunday event, and that's Labor Day weekend.
Sunday before Labor Day, we have the huge celebration out the Logan Golf Course, and it's a great fun day too. A little less congested as far as people and space as such because it's not a craft fair, but we start the day off with a radio control fly-in with the airplanes up on the hill, and then the sand volleyball tournament starts at 9, and then the car show starts at 10. So those are great fun things that happen all day long. They all run throughout the day. And the Chamber of Commerce will set up their food booth, so come out for lunch and enjoy a great
Sure.
hamburger, brat, or hot dog. It'll be a really good, and we'll have the kettle corn and the snow shack there as well, so there's something for everyone. We have inflatable fun for the kids. There's several different bouncy houses and slides, and we also are having a climbing wall this year. So as long as the wind doesn't get out of control,
Sure.
we'll have the climbing wall up. We have to be safe. And then at 2 o'clock, we'll have the kids pedal pull. And then at 4 o'clock, when the car show ends, we really want to encourage everyone to come back to the museum because our exhibit is called Luster. It's hyperrealism in automobile painting, and they are paintings of all different mediums that look like photographed vehicles. Everything from vintage cars to, motorcycles, vintage motorcycles, also modern motorcycles, and it's really very, very good. Several people cannot believe that they are actually paintings.
All right. Yeah.
What is most impressive about them is the reflections that they get in the metal.
Really?
Not
Yeah.
only in the rearview mirrors and the side view mirrors or anything, but in the metal itself, they are reflecting whatever was around them at the time. And one lady's washing her motorcycle, and so you see her reflection in the chrome of the motorcycle all the way through, and it's how it's distorted from different pieces for different perspectives. I don't know how they did it, but they are masterful. And so we really want to encourage people to come out and go into the museum. So we're going to kind of have a space there between 4 and 5:30 where there's not anything scheduled out at the golf course. Everything will be finishing up, and we'll be moving things around and such. But we want you to come to the museum. The shuttle will run from 1 to 5, so we'll even drive you back and forth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, so we have to worry about
So
your,
you don't
you
have
get
to worry
there, get a
about-
good parking place,
Yeah.
you keep the good parking
You
place.
don't have to
right?
worry
Yeah.
about losing your parking spot or anything like that. We'll shuttle you into the museum. It's nice and cool. You can cool off and have a drink in the fountain in the community room or whatever you need. And then head back out at 5:30. We have a Patsy Cline impersonator who will be performing underneath the tent by the food booth, so you can have supper and a show. Her name is Melinda Faree, and she is incredible, and she sounds a lot like Patsy Cline. So
Really? Okay.
if you're a fan, come on out. You won't miss that. And then at 7:30, we have the Innocents, which is a band out of Kearney, Nebraska, and they are really incredible. You can check out their website, The Innocents, and they play a wide variety of music. They can just, I'm sure if you throw out a request, they'll play it too. They're great. And
Yeah.
so about 9 o'clock, we'll have the fireworks.
Fireworks, okay.
We used to say at dusk, but
Yeah.
if you're going to spend that kind of money on fireworks, you want it to be dark when you light them
Yeah,
off,
you're-
right?
You're right, yeah, that's for sure, yeah.
That's what you want to do. So you have a little break there, and that's always give and take a few minutes and such. But Rainbow Fireworks are back to give us another great show, and they never disappoint. They are world class
Sure.
pyrotechnics.
Yeah. And, getting back to your the display there inside, this Saturday you could come in and see all that too, right?
Absolutely, yes. We invite you to come in and check out the exhibit, the Luster exhibit. Also look at the Hanson family
Now you
history.
changed a little bit. You changed that, haven't you?
Yes, we have now Alpha and Kate Hanson's bedroom suite in the back part of the museum. It's a beautiful, over 100-year-old 9-piece bedroom suite made of bird's eye maple, and it is exquisitely gorgeous. We took the Hanson quilt off the wall from the community room and put it on the bed. And so it's a beautiful, and it just fits seamlessly. It was just meant to be right back in there. We moved the coin cases to the community room, one of them, and we condensed such. And so everything's changed up just a little bit. But yes, come in and check it out. It's a nice reprieve from the outside, and you can also think about buying a membership so you can get entered into the Hanson drawing, the Hanson Buck drawing.
And the way things stand right now, I'm going to be there too.
Yes.
I had a ball last year with acting like I was one of the sculptures, and people would come by and you'd say something to them. They thought that was fun last year.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing. I always saw a lot of people once a year. I would see them there, and because they come from Hill City and Plainville and Hayes,
and Russell and Waukene and Colby. They come from far and wide. Even Nebraska, Alma and Woodruff and lots of places up that way, Holdridge and such. So, yeah, people really do come.
Tuesday, I was at Hayes, took someone down to dialysis, and while I was, afterwards we went to eat, and at Gella's, and I opened the door, and there in the door was one of your folders, one of your
flyers.
Flyers, yeah.
We plaster. We go about towards the end of July, and we plaster we go clear to Waukene, over to Smith Center. Phillipsburg is far north as we go, and south to Hayes, Ellis, all around. And that's quite an undertaking. It takes us about 3 days to do that.
Sure, but there it was on the door.
And this year, that was me. I went to Hayes. This year, I stepped out of the office and did some areas, and it was a lot of fun because I got to talk with a lot of people and see what interests them and such. So it's a good time. I enjoyed that very much.
Well, very good. So those two things coming up here, bang bang, and Saturday we look forward to seeing you there over at Logan. And how many years is this?
This is the 45th.
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 Wow.
Yeah, that's a long time.
That's a long time to be doing it, and as successful every year. A lot of people have gone by in those years there, and of course, again, real quick, the reason why you have fireworks on the Labor Day goes way back. It's where they're going to have it on the 4th of July, and it rained, and they had all these fireworks. We got to do something. So, and that's become a tradition, hasn't it?
Well, evidently, because that's our 41st year for the Labor Day celebration. I almost forgot. We also have a 5K 2-mile fun run walk in the morning where all the registration fees we receive go to the Phillips County Hospice. And so that's the start of Saturday morning. You can come and register up to the day of, right before the race. The registration table will open at 7. And we would love to have you come because you also have opportunity to win handsome bucks there. Each age division, the top runner gets 25 and the top walker gets 10. So,
All right.
You could get paid to exercise that day.
We'll see you Saturday, and looking forward to that. And we'll have to have you on here right before Labor Day. And Sarah, thanks for coming over.
Thank you for having us, Tad. We'll see you Saturday.
Good job. Right. We'll see you Saturday. Okay. All things being equal, we'll see you Saturday. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think Morris Engel's scheduled. I think he's out there, and we'll be talking to Morris after we take this time out.
Coombs Incorporated in Phillipsburg, offering local and long-distance hauling, complete shop service, including an automatic aluminum polisher to restore and refurbish those aluminum truck rims to a mirror finish, and 24-hour towing service. Now hiring over-the-road drivers traveling 48 states. Excellent benefit and pay package. See Coombs Incorporated on Facebook. Coombs Incorporated. You call, we haul.
As we mentioned, we're going to talk with Morris Engel about a couple of things this morning. We're going to talk about strategic planning, which really has taken off.
It's really been amazing what we've been able to accomplish already, and to get the work groups going. And I just want to walk through.
Sure, that's okay. We have different groups.
Yes, we do.
The mayor was in there a little while. We're talking about what he's part of. Yeah. I mean, it sounds like things are going.
Yeah. The one of that everybody's going to see here before long is the Community Beautification Project. They got a grant, and with help or input from all the communities, they're going to put planters and benches or tables in every community in a public space.
That's kind of like we have in Phillipsburg now, those planters and everything.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. They've chosen a spot in each of the towns, and they're going to beautify it and make it more accessible. So they were, some of their items have come in, and so they're already in the process of placing those. Okay. And did Lance talk about the elevator?
No, I didn't have him on. No, I just you talked about it before we went on the air. Yeah.
One of the projects has to do with getting the city office ADA compliant, and there's a terrific basement there that could be used for meetings and public events, but you can't get down there if you're handicapped. And so they're working on a project to put an elevator in.
I'm on that committee. We had a meeting last night, They've had bids and they have plans on not only the city building but also the community building.
Oh, great.
And they want to make that because there's 4 different floors for an elevator there, you know.
Yeah.
And the upstairs. Have you ever been in the upstairs?
No, I
That
haven't.
is a beautiful.
That's what I've heard.
It's
that
beautiful up there. I
A
know.
lot of people remember going to dances
Right,
up there,
right.
but
Well,
that was before my time.
I remember this goes way back when the Phillipsburg High School band went to the Orange Bowl.
Oh.
They came back and they were doing some work down at the school, so they had their practices up there on the top floor, and it was beautiful. You know, and the kids, of course, the band then 125, 130 people, kids in it. You know, so working on that. We had a meeting last night, looking at the elevator for there to get down because that's a good facility.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think what we want to do is move the council meeting downstairs, to have that downstairs instead of on the main floor there, and kind of open that up and do some different things there.
Right.
And then, of course, to the community building, I asked him, I said, can you make any, because it's on the National Register, can you make any changes on it without getting permission? Inside we can, but we can't. If we change the windows or anything, we have to have permission. So that is going now to make it ADA, and that's a big thing. You know.
Well, you know, here in Phillipsburg, the WPA projects, I think it was the middle school, or part of that, the stadium anyway.
The stadium, that.
And then there's a bridge down at the park. That's real picturesque.
Sure,
that's great.
Okay, so that's moving. That's moving.
Then we have a group, it's really an intergenerational group working on the walking trails. And what they want to do, as I understand it, is combine all the individual trails and spaces that we have into one big trail so that you could participate in or walk all or part of, you know. So there's, you know, the park, you could develop walking around there. There's the trail that parallels the highway out to the fairgrounds. You know, the clinic has a walking trail behind it, so if they can get all those combined.
Well, that makes sense, you know, just make a nice big trail area.
And one of the local Girl Scouts is going to take on some of that as part of her STAR project or senior project.
Okay.
And then another one is, which I really am more involved in, and that's the leadership development. And, you know, a lot of us old timers are ready to turn over some leadership.
You are an old timer. I'm an old timer.
Anyway, we would like to turn over some leadership duties to the next generation or two. And so to do that, we're trying to mentor and foster leadership development. And so this summer, we've hosted 2 lunches for young professionals. One focused on, had a panel discussion about the quality of life in Phillips County. The next one was about the environment for small business. And then we'll have one at the end of August, and it will focus on people who are actually involved in service and volunteer work now, how people can get involved and take over. And, you know, we like to stress that leadership is something you do, not something that you are or a position, you know. So really to encourage people, the younger people to take over. So.
And that's the future of the county.
We're going to continue to have our churches being active with their boards and all that and their activities, you know, all the sports teams, the Arts Council, the Red Cross, Blood Mobile, you know, a lot of those people that are serving in those ways have done it for a long time.
And we want to mention strategic planning out of Hanson, all right?
Right, yeah. The Hanson Foundation trustees wanted all 26 counties to solve some problems by getting together within their own counties, you know, cooperating, finding out what problems and issues are really prevalent, and then joining together to work.
Northwest Kansas is so fortunate to have Hanson.
Absolutely, yeah. And, you know, I think they're willing to put some grant money towards these projects.
Well,
in fact, our city beautification group has already had.
You know, and of course we'll talk about another our community foundation, and we're involved with. Okay, so
Right.
and then what else? I know that.
Well, probably the biggest one
Yeah.
that's got the most activity going is the sports complex
Right.
development
Sure.
group, and what they're trying to do is locate a site and build. I kind of picture it in my mind kind of like a clover leaf with the
Well,
ball
that-
fields
sure.
as the leaves, and then in the center would be a
Well, it's-
restroom, concession stand,
And-
office
and
kind
that's
of
where
a
they can-
complex.
Each one looking out the PA and all that kind of
Right,
stuff. Yeah.
right, and really have a coordinated location and a
Sure.
place, and and open to all the county
Sure.
teams and that sort of thing. You know, I realize each town has its own ball field, but
Sure.
this would certainly be a terrific addition to Phillipsburg.
Hayes has a great one. There's Lawrence. If you ever taken Highway 10 between Lawrence and Kansas City, you go by that huge sports facility they have down. I know they're a larger community and all, but it's amazing. And then I've heard a rumor maybe, or that an amphitheater. Have you heard that?
Well, yes.
Which would I think?
I'm glad you mentioned that. We kind of started with a baby step of talking about what about building an old-fashioned bandstand
Wow, that'd be
down
great.
at the
Yeah.
park.
Uh-huh.
Well, then that's kind of evolved into now, well, if we're going to do that, why not put some kind of an amphitheater? Because of the hill down at the city
It's
park
perfect. Yeah, it's
is
perfect for it.
perfectly designed. It's already
Sure.
there. All you
Yeah.
have to do is, set
Seating,
it up.
yeah.
Yeah. So I think, we'd envision, even summer nights with a blanket
Oh,
and a
wow.
picnic and
It-
then
yeah.
a band concert of some kind,
Sure.
or a concert of any
Sure,
kind,
yeah.
really, there's a lot of great gospel groups out there. There's young bands that
Yeah,
are
right. In the
wanting
area
to play.
and-
Yeah, and of course, there's always opportunities to bring in professional groups too. So.
Kind of like the Phillips County.
Yeah, kind of like the Arts Council does.
does,
Yeah. So, and of course, we always have a tremendous turnout for our summer musicals. So maybe it somehow could even be incorporated to have a performance down
That-
there too.
This
so.
year, that Wizard is just great, and the talent, the local
Yeah,
talent we have
it's
is
there.
amazing.
It's out there. All you
Yeah.
have to do is tap into it. I when I was a kid, a big treat was to go to the Starlight Theater in Kansas
Yeah,
City,
right,
which was an
yeah,
open
sure,
air performance center.
Yeah.
And but anyway, those are the projects that are being
They're really
developed.
going. That's all started because of Hanson.
Right.
Yeah.
The strategic doing movement, and I think one of the things that makes it so unique is that the structure is that you set dates, you assign tasks, you come back and meet, and so that
Sure.
you don't just let's think about that and go home, and then 6 months later somebody says
yeah.
whatever happened to that idea.
And that's really when the first meeting they had, a lot of people. That was what the concern was even mentioned. It's not something we meet and everything goes out great, and a week later it's all forgotten.
Right.
This will continue to
Disappear,
go
right.
on.
And with the potential for some money backing it to
Sure.
to do some projects, why it really has a lot of momentum. And I haven't kept up on what other counties are doing. I mean, I know Ellis County has some things
Sure.
going, but I would say Phillips County is right up there as far as involvement as any of the others. So.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
And of course, that was on Hanson and grants and this kind of thing. Right back in with the community foundation. The other night we had a meeting, and lo and behold, another race. Right?
Yes. We have an opportunity to participate in the matching grant program, and that's where, if we can raise $50,000 locally, the Hanson Foundation will give us matching funds up to $50,000.
Sure.
And we had such a ball last year doing this amazing race of Phillips County that we're going to give that another go. And some of the teams are already wanting a revenge match,
Sure.
So,
Right. Yeah.
so we'll get that rolling, and you'll be hearing more about
Maybe
that.
we'll do a lot more. And some of this, I think we mentioned the fact that it's changed. It's going to be in the Phillipsburg community.
Yeah, we're going to
for
keep it
several reasons.
a little more contained. Won't be putting people on the
On the
road
highway, yeah,
like we did. But some of the challenges that we're thinking of are pretty funny. So
Amber had a list of them the other night. She must think all the time about what the.
she's creative, that's for sure. So, I would hate to have her at a slumber party where they're thinking of pranks to do. She'd have
Yeah,
everybody
right.
really entertained.
Yeah, but it was a good meeting, I
Right.
think, and we talked about that and how things are done and responsibilities in this. I
Right,
think
yeah. The jobs and the tasks.
and we'll be
involved.
talking more. The
Right.
date. What was the date set?
October the 7th.
7th.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And before that, though, the fall round of the community grants is open.
Mm-hmm.
So beginning September 15th, a group, nonprofit, can go on the website and fill out an application and try to get funding for a project.
I think that's one of my favorite things is getting together, looking at the grants, and then
Being able to
ranking,
help out, yeah.
and then you rank them and you get them talk about it and everything. And that's a great opportunity, and a lot of people don't. It's available there. All you have to do is file the grant,
Right, yeah.
And Hanson helps us out as they say this is eligible, this isn't, so we don't have to make that decision.
Right.
I'm
There's
glad,
a filtering process
Yeah,
that they
yeah.
provide for us, which is really helpful. And so
Mm-hmm.
that we know when we get them, the Hanson Foundation has okayed if we approve it.
Sure,
So, yeah.
and we go do and figure out the grants and so on. A lot of it's been done, and I said the race. Getting back to that, after the race, and someone's a lip sync.
We
Someone threw that out.
Yeah,
lip sync.
I've never seen the show. I kind of know
Yeah,
the idea,
yeah.
but
Do you know, back in 1948, 47, when I was in junior high, I would put something on and lip sync that back then. Yeah,
that
probably the first lip syncer. In my room, and the
Yeah.
song would come on, and I'd like I was holding a mic and look in the mirror, and practice, and so I really was pretty good at the lip sync. I don't know how I do now. I can't remember past the second line, but
well, and I think they're encouraged to wear a costume and
sure, right,
really
yeah,
sell the
really
song.
sell the
Yeah,
song,
yeah.
So, did you ever lip sync? Did you ever try that?
No, I mean, I'll sing to the radio in the car, but
Yeah, right.
that's about it. Yeah. I guess that's lip syncing.
So that's coming up, and we'll be talking more about that. And it's just the strategic. That's a great.
Yeah,
there were quite a few different things came out, and it just wasn't interest in some,
Right, yeah. We can't do everything, but basically 6 things kind of rose to the top as being the primary focus.
We talked about a recreation commission, that kind of, but it kind of evolved into the
sports
big
complex.
sports complex.
And that right there is going to require
land,
some
I don't know
staffing
whether,
and
land
some
and
design,
building it and everything,
Right,
and how
yeah.
the money
right.
will come from.
It's a long-term process, but they've made good
I
progress.
like an
so far.
amphitheater idea.
Yeah, I think that'll be fun to pursue and see how that
I
turns
think
out.
that's great. Summertime, growing up in Garden City, they had a band shell right in the middle of town. The
Yep.
park, Finna Park, right in the middle of Finna Park, I think so, right in the middle of town. Are you familiar with Garden City at all?
No, but a couple of towns that I've lived in or been close
Yeah.
to have had.
Yeah, they
the
had this
old-time
beautiful band
bandstand.
show. There you
Yeah.
go. And one night a week you'd go and you have a band
Yeah.
there, and that went by the wayside, because of
Yeah,
things.
it's,
So
times have changed. Because I know my dad and his brothers who grew up in the 30s were active in a community band, and it was a very prestigious, desired thing to get to play the clarinet on the bandstand.
Are you an Andy Griffith Show fan? You watch?
Oh
this?
yeah, sure, yeah.
There's one in there where they go to church and they come home and on a Sunday afternoon we're going to have a band, and they try to get the band together, and they all wear themselves out, trying to get
To do that.
to do the deal there. So
Well, we'll draft Bill Schick to put a band together.
Okay.
Have a good concert.
Oh, that's great. Okay, but one other thing, Arts Council. What's the next thing coming up in the Arts Council?
We have a night in Frogtown, which is a kids musical, and it's going to be really fun because the cartoon characters are projected on screen, and then the live actors interact with the
yeah.
projected animated, and then the kids there'll be a matinee for the kids at the Huck Boyd, and then an evening performance.
Okay.
And then I think one more thing for the year later in October is the Whose Line Is It Anyway? And it's an improv kind of a talent show thing. So,
Well,
and
great
then
to
we'll begin planning for the next year. So.
And Arts Council does a great job on bringing things in, and I thought the Russian woman you had here was very good.
She was pretty phoriginal.
It really was good,
Right,
and I know they had a problem with they couldn't because of copyright. Or something.
Her original show involved projecting on the screen movie.
And there's
short
song-
clips from movies
music
and
could go
cartoons.
along with that,
Right,
yeah.
Bugs Bunny playing the piano
Sure,
and that sort
yeah.
of thing. Anyway, she was not able to work with Disney and Warner Brothers and all that to get the rights to all that, so
Good
she
idea,
had to change her program.
Sure,
But she could light
She's
up the
very good.
keyboard.
Oh,
Yeah,
very good, very good. It's amazing how they do it. Okay, anything else?
I think that's it.
All right.
for
Well,
now.
we'll let the people know more about the race and about
Right.
other
Yeah. Oh,
things.
we'll make a big splash with that as we get going on it.
You know, people for the rodeo and for the fair and everything are coming through out of town. When they see the planters we have here and the quilt, barn quilt, it's really has to get their attention.
Right. Yeah.
And that just makes a better place.
And they've even got a route now where you can go through the county and see all of them
Sure,
and check them
yeah,
out.
and-
And I just, it's, beautification comes in
sure,
steps and
yeah.
phases, and we're
No,
doing it. Yeah.
It's great. Okay, thank you.
All right.
Okay, we'll see you, I'm sure, down the road a little
Yeah,
bit.
okay, I'm counting on that. All right.
All right, we're going to take another time out here, and then is Tara out there? Okay, we'll have Tara in to talk about something, and then standing by, we'll talk with Terry Thomason in Denver about the trip next spring that the students will take. All right, we'll get Tara in here and talk about the drill they had the other night. That's amazing. Back when I was a newsman, the radio station, we always looked forward to the drill they had because we kind of knew ahead of time it was going to happen, and then it happened, and we kind of covered it as a news story. It was amazing what was done. Well, Tuesday night, Tara, you had another one.
We did. We had our emergency preparedness drill over at the hospital, and it involved all first responders. So we had the Phillips County EMS involved, the Sheriff's Department was involved, the city was involved, kind of everybody on standby knowing we were going to do it, but not knowing what the incident would be. So if a gas line needed turned off, people would know that they
Sure.
were on call for that and stuff. So, but with the actual drill, it really involved the EMS and the hospital.
Okay, how'd it work?
So we started planning it many months ago, and the scenario that was chosen was a explosion at the 4-H building.
Okay.
So we used 18 volunteers from the community that came to the hospital that afternoon and got made up as injury victims. They had makeup that showed burns and broken bones and all kinds of fun stuff that we got to make them over as our victims. And then they were transported to the 4-H building and posed all over the place as if an explosion had happened and where they would have landed. And when the drill started, then EMS as the first responders went out there and started treating the victims, taking the notes, starting the communication process back to the hospital. At one point, we had 5 ambulances parked at the hospital dropping off patients when you have that many.
Sure.
So a lot of communication and coordination going on. We had 50 staff members from the hospital that showed up when the page went out saying there's been a big emergency. If you're capable, please come back to the hospital to treat patients. And it lasted until about 7:30.
You know, it's amazing with the makeup, and you were trying to find. I thought I'd do that with it. I wouldn't need any makeup. I've already had some, but so the responders show up there and the EMS, and they show up, and so they have to assess what the problem is, and then categorize and who goes first and all that kind of thing.
Exactly.
Right?
So each of our volunteers, first we were given what their injuries were to make them over. So we referenced different pictures on the internet to make sure that the different levels of burns, for instance, that the responders, by looking at them, could assess if it was a first degree to a third degree burn. And if it was a third degree burn, our automatic protocol would be to transport them out. So anywhere from there. And then the victims also were given a script on what their symptoms would be. If they had inhaled smoke or any of that, if they were having trouble breathing, if they were unconscious, if they were to lose consciousness partially through any of those kind of things. So they were good actors on showing what their ailments were.
All ages?
All ages. I think our youngest, gosh, I thought it was my son, but there was a little boy that was even younger. So I would say our youngest was probably 9 years old, around there, and then all the way up to people in their 70s. So we used all ages, all abilities to really show what would happen in a scenario.
And the purpose of the drill, obviously, is it training to get ready if anything parasitol would happen, you're ready for it.
Exactly. So it is a guideline by the state and federal to hold these drills. They don't always have to be people moving drills. They can be sitting around a round table and playing it out and just discussing, but it is to streamline that communication process. We were able to learn better places to keep some of our equipment, how that communication would work, what people really need to be where and when. We learned that with EMS, we're a pretty well-oiled machine. We have great teamwork with them once we're in and we're going. But some of the communication pieces on when Pete from EMS would call in to radio another person, well, most of our team was treating patients, so we weren't communicating back and forth very well. So we know we need to fix that. So that we have somebody designated to communicate back to EMS on the hospital side.
So, and did you have media is always showing up. Did you have any part of their drill?
No, and that's my role, and so I didn't get to play it. I am the communications officer for any of these. So if there was a big catastrophe anywhere in the state, I could go out and
you're the one they see,
and
right?
handle CNN or whoever comes out. So we had a media room set up. If media was to show up for one of these things, we have a designated place that we would hold them in, so they wouldn't be in between the different stuff.
Which makes sense.
So we set up the media room, and we would give updates from there, and so it gave us a chance to practice on what we're allowed to say, making sure we're covering the HIPAA rules and how we would communicate that stuff out. But no media showed up. So
you know, it's interesting getting it to media. You know, they always want to get there with their cameras and everything and get right into where it's going, and they're in the way a lot of times too. And you watch the TV stations, you know, and they're always out there trying to get a comment, and so we haven't got a comment yet. So you did have a place set up, though, right?
We did. So we were ready if we were going to act that part out, but we didn't have that built into our drill. But we did have one newspaper guy show up really early and take some pictures of the makeup process. But it was actually me that was in the way taking pictures of our staff practicing.
Who did the makeup? I mean,
we had, of course, I'm on the spot now. Cami Caps and myself from the hospital helped out. And one of the EMS ladies, I'm drawing a blank on her name, Lisa. Lisa did a lot, and she did a lot of the research. We got donations of some special makeup from the mortuary, actually, so that we could do the blisters and scars and stuff on the face that you would have with burns. So that was very handy to have some fun stuff to play with.
And by using the makeup and so on, when the first responders got there, they could tell what was wrong, and
that
from
was the goal.
And right, and from the their script, they could say, well, if you're inhaling smoke and so on. You know, in the past, I think they had a school bus one time, I think, and ethanol plant, I think that they had
I'm
something.
not sure. I know there's a train one at some point, but this is the
train
first.
Wreck
We had an active shooter one last year, where Justin Heisen was our shooter and came into the building. We had to go on lockdown, and how would that look? And worked with the sheriff department and stuff more on that side on those drills. So it's always a little different.
Okay, so well, what you learned is you could make some of those changes.
We
and
did,
those-
yeah. Another one is that we learned we had 18 victims coming in, and we first assessed them on where they need to go. Are they an ER patient? Are they triage? Are they observation? And Shirley Van Lunen, one of our great actresses in our community,
Yeah.
full of flair, she comes in and she barely has any injury. Same with Angie Wells. They both show up with barely any injuries and are sent to kind of observation triage, which is a different area of the hospital. Well, their acting script was once they got there, they had inhaled smoke and were getting very bad. We actually lost Shirley Van Lunen in the drill.
Really? Wow.
But we learned, a good thing is once we clear that ER bay and say it's empty, they get someone right into there. So if they're back in observation and triage, what do you do with them if they get worse and ER's full? You can't just put them back into
Sure,
ER. So how do we get that? So that was a really good opportunity for us to test what equipment do we have where and how do we get it to the place it needs to be if it's not in the ER.
Yeah, okay. It used to be no one knew about it. But there was more because everyone knew now because the sirens would go off and people read what's going on here, and then you
Yep. Sometimes we won't have it as publicly announced. We haven't had one on this scale for a while. So we did want as many people involved as possible.
right,
So we did let people know kind of the general
Well, you had to,
scenario
yeah, right,
and what was going on so people could have childcare. I had to have someone watch my daughter while I was
Sure.
involved in this. But typically we don't give any notice.
Sure, yeah, okay. Anything else going on? What's else going
Oh,
on?
we have so much going on. Our big thing that's happening is we have a new doctor starting October 1st. We'll have his open house the end of September. A local guy, Dr. Tyson Weisinger. His family just moved back into Phillipsburg. I saw them dropping off their child for the first day of school this morning. So they're integrated into the community now, and he's been covering our ER occasionally. So you might have already seen him at the hospital and seen patients, but he'll officially be taking patients at the clinic October 1st. So we're really
Sure.
excited to have him. Another thing is we're moving our front entrance. It's always been middle front of the hospital. We started a program called Senior Life Solutions, which gives mental counseling to geriatric patients, and they're really utilizing that space. So to make it easier for the other patients, we're going to have all registration in one place in our what used to be our outpatient clinic. So where it used to be long-term care, where all those windows are kind of by ER, that's going to be our new front entrance starting the 22nd.
Oh, okay.
And
All right.
then after Labor Day, we'll have all of our registration staff moved over there. So if you come for labs or radiology or to see somebody in inpatient as a visitor, everybody will go through that entrance
Oh, okay.
now.
All right. Very good. All right. Well, it sounds like things moving.
It is
along
lots
very
of
good.
really positive, good changes going on at the
very
hospital
good.
and at the clinic.
Well, I think that drill is a great idea. And to experience almost what it's like.
It
an
is.
actual thing. And then you can find out where you might, like you said, if you have glitches. You take care of that.
It was, and it's also a great team building opportunity for our staff. It's not as high stress as it would be obviously in a real one. So you're able to laugh, you're able to joke around with your victims that and,
Sure, yeah.
and they're trying not to laugh as they're pretending to
Sure.
convulse on the table. And then afterwards we provided a hot meal for all of our volunteers and everybody that participated and had ice cream and cookies and a time just to debrief and talk about how it had gone and really just bond as a caregiving team for our community.
All right. Very good. Well, thank you, Tara, for coming on, and we'll keep tabs of what's happening and at the hospital, and be glad that the drill went off well.
It did, thanks to the community. We had a
Okay.
lot of support and volunteers and help.
Okay, thank you for coming in this morning.
Thanks, Tad.
Tara Overnutter with us this morning. Do you have another break? Okay, well, do you have Terry on? Or we'll get Terry on here in a minute. I think, not, okay. Do we have anyone else out there? Okay. We'll take a break. Okay, back we are on the Tadpoll for this Thursday morning. Terry unable to join us this morning, is busy in Denver, so I guess that's going to do a couple of things. I want to mention one is the fact that we're going to start the sports talk next door to the Third Street Bakery talk with Linda this morning. And I said, "You're still going to supply the donuts to the kids?" And Anthony said, "Yeah." So we're going to be doing that. We will. The way things are right now, we will not have a program on the Labor Day weekend. I know the football starts that Friday before, but because of Labor Day weekend, plus the fact that I'll be in New York City, we just probably we won't have that. We'll start our first sports talk the second Saturday in September. We'll have our Tadpoll, of course, every Thursday up until then. We have some other guests already scheduled for next week. So we will be back with our sports talk. We'll start the second Saturday in September, and then have a whole season out in front of us talking not only the Phillipsburg coaches, but coaches in the area like we always have, and the athletes, which is always a favorite thing to do. So, well, I guess that's it. For this morning, we do appreciate all the guests for coming in. Don't forget the next Tuesday night at Fort Bissell, go out, and Mark Studley, they'll be putting him on the Wall of Fame, and this Saturday will be the Hanson Arts and Crafts Fair. The way our things are now, it's scheduled to be there. I'll drop by. I'll be inside the building and drop by and say hi. See the drill. We had talked with Tara a little bit. It sounded like the drill went very well. We appreciate Tara coming in, and of course, Morris letting us know what things are going on there. So, well, we'll see you next Thursday morning here on the Tadpole. Thanks for joining us, and again, the sponsors you see, thank them for making it possible for us to come by into your area and see what's going on in the city of Phillipsburg and in Phillips County. That's why we're here, and we thoroughly enjoy it. So we'll see you next Thursday morning, 9 o'clock, here on the Tadpole.